Hey, what's up? It's Tati and I'm back with another review of AEW Dynamite, and this episode was really great. The opening match and the main event were my favorites. I really did enjoy this show throughout, but those two matches stood out to me the most. Let's get straight into this review. First of all, we have Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page. Moxley is making his way down to the ring from the crowd as usual, but this time he's with Wheeler Yuta and his dad, so that was cool to see. He makes it down to the ring, and then here comes Hangman's music, and he is just taking way too long to get down there. So Moxley's like, you know what, bro, I'm gonna meet you halfway. So a little more than halfway, but Moxley couldn't wait to start putting a beat down on him. So they start fighting and they take it out into the crowd, and about like 7-8 minutes into the match is when the bell actually rung, since they made it back into the ring. This was a very physical match. I would say Hangman has actually, you know, been doing much better progressively each match, and we're going with someone like Moxley, especially after coming from a win with Wheeler Yuta. Like, he really wants to prove himself to, you know, be able to compete with, you know, really tough guys like Moxley. So this was a really great physical match. We had blood, we had tables and all that. It was a really great match. However, I do think that with it being the third match between these two, Moxley really wanted to make sure that he was going to be able to give him a beatdown to the point that he wouldn't want to go against Moxley again. So these two guys were really going at it. I do recommend going back to watch this match. So we do have towards the end where Hangman does deliver a buckshot lariat, and you know what, that scared me for a bit. I was like, hell, he might just win this. But Moxley did kick out of that, and he ended up countering a move from Adam and basically did a cradle, and the referee counted 1 2 3. And to be completely honest, kind of didn't really expect that to be the finisher of the match. And also Moxley, he's pissed off. He's like, whoa, let's go at this again. Like, even he didn't like how the match ended so simple, you know what I mean? Like, everything that Moxley does isn't simple in the ring. So I think he just wanted to you know, beat him in a more I don't know, menacing way or whatnot, and he was not happy about it, and he kept trying to, I guess you could say, taunt Adam into keep fighting, and Adam seemed to maybe wanted to fight with him too. So then we have the BCC come out, and they're, you know, in between these guys trying to keep them from fighting. To be honest, I would love for the ref to just ring the bell and let them keep going. I understand, like, the finisher didn't just seem satisfying enough, so I wouldn't mind seeing these guys go another 10 minutes or so, if anything. So is the whole saga between Hangman and Moxley finished? I don't know. The way they left that thing off made me feel like there's probably going to be another match between these two in the near future. Either way, this was a great way to open the show. Lots of energy, and I love it when they start off the shows with these type of matches. Right after that match, we have backstage the Bunny. She's issuing a challenge to Jamie Hayter for a women's eliminator match. You know, I don't like these eliminator matches, doesn't make sense. But Jamie definitely takes on the challenge. And then, like, right behind him in the screen, we see Britt Baker getting the shit beat out of her by Saraya and Toni Storm. So then Jamie runs to make her way to go help Britt. So that little saga does continue on later on in the night. Up next, we have the Acclaim versus God knows who that tag team was. To be honest, I watched this part twice and I didn't hear them say who they were, but they look familiar. Like, I think I've seen them on Dark before. This match really was irrelevant. I guess they just wanted to put the Acclaim in some type of situation where they're defending their titles and stuff, and honestly, I don't like this at all. Don't put them in squash matches, especially when you got gold. I don't want to see these type of stuff. We don't even know who the hell your opponents were. Wasn't feeling it at all. Obviously the Acclaim ended up winning. Nothing memorable about this moment. They won, and then the Ass Boys come out and they issue a challenge to the Acclaim for the titles. The Acclaim basically said no, and that the crowd agreed that they said no for them to get a shot for the gold. And Daddy Ass was not happy about that. He was upset and he ended up walking away. Then the Guns, they were talking shit about Daddy Ass, and Daddy Ass come back in the ring and says, you know what, the Acclaim accepts your challenge. And I think the match is next week on Dynamite. And then we see the Acclaim, they look kind of surprised, maybe a little bit mad that Daddy Ass would just accept this challenge on their behalf after they've already said no. It made me feel like maybe Daddy Ass might switch on them. I don't really know at this point. I just want to see the gold being defended. They've been holding the titles for a while, and I feel like they have not done much as far as putting them on the line. That's just how I feel. And like I said, this moment was not really memorable. Nothing really special about it. Let's move on. Right after that moment, we did have Jack Perry backstage, and he's basically said he's done with the tag team shit. He wants to compete as a singles competitor, and that he's looking for gold. To be honest, I didn't mind him with being partners with Hook, but you know, Jack kind of put out the point that he's been a tag team partner before, and that kind of backfired on him. Now, he did end up winning gold, unlike other teams and whatnot, but then, you know, there was issues between him and Luchasaurus. I don't really know where he's at right now, but basically he's just saying, hey, I'm done with the whole tag team thing. I want to go after gold. So that would be interesting. As soon as he said that, I thought maybe he'd be going after the TNT title, but I'll go into why later on that he probably will not be going for the TNT title anytime soon. So right after that, we do have Konosuke Takeshita versus Brian Cage. Now, this was another physical match. I think these two did really well in the ring. It's not the best match that I've seen them both do as of late, but I really love to see how great Brian is in the ring. He does really well, and he's been having different types of opponents lately, so he's been able to show a wide range of what he can do in the ring. This was a great match. However, it wasn't as much as I expected, so we did have Takeshita win this match. And let's just say this whole MJF thing and Takeshita and all that, it does still move forward. So there is some more to this drama that plays on to the rest of the night. So after that, we get this strange little moment with the Elite. They're at a basketball court or whatever inside of a gym, and they're basically accepting AR Fox and Top Flight's challenge for the trios title. And then we had what's his name, Michael. He has this water bottle with water, and he's spraying it all over Kenny's chest, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, if it was anybody else, it would be so strange, but it's the Elite. They always do some weird shit. And then out of the blue, we have Ethan Page, Isaiah Cassidy, and Matt Hardy there on the court as well, and they're basically challenging for the titles as well. So we'll be seeing that match on Rampage. Obviously they're not going to win that match because we really want to see Top Flight and AR Fox next week on Dynamite, getting really close to winning. I don't think they're going to win that either, but why would they lose these titles prior to a big match like that? So yeah, just a fun little moment that they had. And to be honest, like, Young Bucks, they're great in the ring or whatever. I would prefer Kenny as a singles competitor. He's amazing in the ring, but they're gonna be holding these titles for a while, definitely. Up next, we have Bryan Danielson versus Timothy Thatcher, and you know what? I do have a complaint about this one. So obviously Bryan, he's been going match after match every week up until he gets to get his hands on MJF at Revolution. So obviously with each match he's less and less closer from 100%, and especially with this shoulder injury and whatnot. And you know, we have MJF who is offering to wrestlers that are competing against him money to make sure that they, if you win or not, just get the job done and damage him, so by the time he wrestles him at Revolution, he definitely will be in the worst shape that he possibly can be in. Okay, cool. But now I just feel like with someone like Timothy as a opponent, we would have really seen a much better matchup had Bryan been as close to 100% as possible. This wasn't a bad match. I just feel like had this been during another time, this match would have been much better than what it was, with two really great competitors in the ring. Obviously the main focus in this match was on Bryan's shoulder. That was all taped up and everything, and you know, that was just the main focus. So while this wasn't a bad match, I know absolutely between these two it would have been absolutely much better matchup. So during this match we had the referee that was magically I guess pronounced dead for a couple of minutes, and that gave the opportunity for MJF to come out to the ring. He had that diamond ring on, and I think maybe he was going to give it to Timothy. I'm not really sure how exactly he was going to get involved, but that most likely would have been it. But then we had our boy Takeshita come in and save the day. He's like, hold up, you ain't about to roll up on Bryan like that, and they start fighting and took it to the back. Then the referee finally just miraculously just gets right back up and does his job, and Bryan wins. And right after that we're taken backstage, and Takeshita and MJF are still going at it. And you know what, I was entertained. I was like, oh hell yeah, I like this. I love when they be fighting in the back. Everything doesn't have to be in the ring. Why not? You got a whole arena, use it. So these two are going at it, and then some referees and some guys backstage come and break it up. And to be completely honest, I was like, let them fight, let them keep going. Y'all came in a little too soon. And then Renee comes in, and she comes to announce that Tony Khan says that these two will be going against each other for an eliminator match on Dynamite next week. And to be completely honest, I think we already knew this was where it was going, but it will be so cool to see Takeshita win this match, because even if he wins on Dynamite, he won't be champion, but he has an opportunity to go for the gold. And to be honest, he's been doing so well in the ring. I think he would have really earned that spot. So I would like to see him win that match next week. So now we're back from the commercial break, and we have Swerve Strickland. He is issuing a challenge to Brian Pillman Jr. for Rampage. Then they announced that Rouge will be Bryan Danielson's next opponent for Dynamite next week. And then we're taken backstage where LFI are talking to, I want to say, was it Renee? I think it was Renee. And then MJF come out, and you know, he comes with a briefcase and he's offering Rouge money. So he's like, well, this one is for free. I'll give you more if you get the job done next week against Bryan Danielson. So you know, he accepts, and we'll see where that goes. Rouge is another really great competitor, so I do expect a really great match. But like I said, obviously with Bryan being injured and him having to go against different wrestlers every week, it just takes away a little bit from the match, and it just shows how awesome Bryan is. So obviously he's going to make it so far into Revolution, but I don't see him winning that. But I'm interested to see where they go with the match between Rouge and Bryan next week. So up next we have Jade versus Red Velvet. So she's 49-0 at that point. So if she wins, then she'll have 50 matches for a winning streak. So I already knew that there was not gonna let Red Velvet pick up the win for this one, but this was an interesting match where we really get to see Jade's strengths come into play. It wasn't all that, but there were some okay moments. We did have some interference with Layla in this match, and we also had Kiera Hogan come out as well as a distraction, and with that distraction that did cost the loss for Red Velvet. So she's coming out, and this didn't really make sense. Kiera comes out, and she's walking towards the ring. Aubrey, who is the official for this match, she's trying to get Kiera away. Then another official comes and trying to get her to go to the back away from this match. However, Aubrey is still paying attention to Kiera. That doesn't make any sense. If another official came out, she should be paying attention back to the match, which didn't happen. So that helped Jade have one up on Red Velvet and end up winning this match. So that part didn't really make any sense, but it is what it is. And Jade streaks continue. I wonder who is going to get that streak and that title from her. I did at one point think it was Athena, but I doubt that it would be her at this point, since she is the ROH Women's Champion. So really interested to see who that would be. So I guess the streak's gonna keep going for the time being. So now we're back from commercials, and we have Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter backstage, and the doctor is checking out Britt. We already know she alright. And then we have Ruby Soho, who comes out basically asking what happened, and seeming to be concerned with what happened to Britt. And Britt was like, well, those are your girls, you knew them longer than you knew us. And I'm like, well, what does that have to do with anything? Just because she knows them don't mean that she has any affiliation with them. So that was a little bit of a weird moment. You guys already know I'm over this storyline. Doesn't really make sense to where they're going with this, but they did announce that Saraya and Toni Storm will be on tag team action on Rampage. Against who? Nobody knows. I'm pretty sure they're going to win that. And then they also announced Roosh versus Christopher Daniels for Rampage as well. That's going to be an interesting matchup. So now let's go on to the main event. This was amazing. So now for the main event, Darby Allin versus Samoa Joe for the TNT Championship title. And you know what? This match was probably my favorite of the night. It was absolutely violent. We had tables, we had chairs, we just had a lot of hardcore moments between these dudes. And you know what? As crazy as Darby Allin is, he's really great in the ring as well. And he doesn't let the whole size thing be an issue for him. And I'm telling you, like, Joe is a fucking beast. And there was times he just be picking up Darby like a little rag doll and just throwing him around, and it's absolutely insane. Now this match, it was really great. We did have some of the match out in the stands. We had some of the match in the ring and all outside the ring. These guys were all over the place, and it was not messy. It was done really nice. We did have a portion of this match where Darby had powder and he threw it into Samoa Joe's eyes, and at that point Samoa Joe was already busted, like somewhere in the forehead or maybe in the eye. I'm not exactly sure. So he was already bleeding, but then that powder to the eye really made Darby get some control in this match, since he was basically being thrown around in the ring. This was really interesting because obviously it's like a David versus Goliath type thing, where we've actually seen Darby win. So at times you're like, oh, maybe Darby might win this, and then sometimes you would think that Samoa Joe was going to win. From the beginning I was like, Samoa Joe's definitely winning this, but I wouldn't be surprised if Darby had retained. Now we have a part of the match where towards the end Darby is trying to have the plywood under the ring to be exposed. To be honest, I thought it was a little bit weird, because I was like, well, what is he going to do for that to be an advantage for him? So he, doing a coffin drop would not be an advantage by him exposing the wood under the you know, under the mat and the pads. So it didn't really make sense to me. So at that point I figured the win is definitely going to Samoa Joe. So now I forgot to mention this, but when Darby came out to the ring, he took off his jacket and he had a hoodie on with thumbtacks all over it, like literally in the hoods, the arms, everywhere. Okay, and I guess he glued them on so that the sharp parts, the sharp edge of it would be exposed, so that, you know, he can hurt Samoa Joe with that. He tried to use this hoodie later on in the match to deliver a coffin drop. However, he was struggling to get it on. So since he had took it off, he couldn't get it back on the way it was when he first came out to the ring. So that really played a little bit of an issue, because you did see him trying to fix it, but it just really wasn't working. And that gave a little bit of time for Samoa Joe to you know, regain some momentum, and it just didn't work because he couldn't get the sweater back on to cover his whole body so that it can actually you know, make some type of impact to Samoa Joe. So while that was a little bit of a failure, we still have Joe end up winning this match. It was really great. I do recommend going back and watching this. And you know, with the king of television, he is showing why he is, you know, that damn good. He's really well on the mic, and also obviously in the ring as well. And before he could even celebrate, we hear somebody's music come on, and then Wardlow comes out, and I was like, whoa. I literally was just talking about the other day, like, where has he been? To be completely honest, I was a little bit shocked that he had came back, like literally right after Samoa Joe winning this. So that kind of surprised me. I figured maybe the next challenger will come up maybe another week or so. But he did come out to the ring to fight with Samoa Joe, and I was like, well, you know, after everything Samoa Joe just did, like, you coming out here to fight him, that looks a little bit cowardly of you. And Samoa Joe ends up running out, and we had some people from the back coming to you know, stop them two from going against each other. So that's going to be interesting. I really do feel like Wardlow will be winning this. How soon, I don't know. If anything, they'll be saving that for the Revolution pay-per-view, because, you know, at this point we really don't have any matches for that pay-per-view. The pay-per-view is March 5th or so. So they need to get the ball rolling with this card and what matches they're going to be having with that as well. And then, you know, the ROH Super Card of Honor pay-per-view is coming up, so they do have quite a bit of work to do to get these cards filled up. Just a few weeks away. Guys, thank you so much for watching my review. I will be back on Friday with the review of Rampage.